Well, hello. Hi everybody. I am Gabo the Shaman, and today we are discussing Ascension symptoms. Okay. Alright, so let me get my mic fixed here. Might make some noise. My apologies. Alright, so we are discussing Ascension symptoms and what is it? And, I have it here. And ego death. Yeah, that's the title. So recently, so if you don't know what Ascension symptoms are, they are essentially how they, well, I should say this, how they've been described in the New Age community or the spiritual community is basically you get these ascension symptoms like illnesses, pain, emotional disorders, things like this in your body. And people spiritualize that and say, oh, yeah, I'm suffering, so I must be ascending, right? I'm suffering, therefore I'm ascending. This goes into that whole assumption about, oh, in order to be a good person, I have to suffer. Well, that's not true at all. So I just want to tell you, just because you're in pain does not mean that you're ascending. That's the hard truth of the matter. And I unapologetically tell you that because I have your best interest at heart. And I want you to know the truth. I want to tell you the truth. And I don't want you to be deceived or have any incorrect assumptions. Okay, so that's the first thing. Just because you have, just because you're suffering in some way doesn't mean that you are ascending. You can suffer and be descending into, drug addicts suffer when they're, when they need their next hit, right? So, yeah, just so that's the assumption. Just because you're suffering or having weird symptoms going on doesn't necessarily mean that you are ascending. However, people love to spiritualize their kind of illnesses, suffering, any kind of bodily symptoms. Oh, I must be, ascending. Nope. That uh, and here's the other thing. I don't want to say, oh, you're having symptoms, therefore you're not ascending at all. Those things, I'm just saying that those things don't go together all the time. So a person can be suffering and not be ascending. A person can be suffering and be ascending. A person can be not suffering at all but be descending. A person can be suffering but be ascending. It's there's multiple things going on here. So don't just automatically assume that, that you're suddenly ascending somehow. Now, that's the first misconception that I want to clear up. And the other thing I wanted to tell you is that I personally have been, like for example, so Odin, if you look at Odin in the Havamal, he says, 9 long nights I lay there, or I hung upon the tree of life, And he says, screaming, I reached down and took up the runes. So he's there hanging by his feet, and then he, like, he sees the runes off, like, a little bit out of reach, but then he reaches up to them. He stretches out his body and reaches up to them. He says in that experience that gave him a lot of pain. He was dealing with a lot of pain. A lot of pain came up from him. And this is called a shamanic death and rebirth. He says, I sacrificed myself to myself, means the little s, little self, to the big self. Okay, so I just want to make that clear. So the little self is the ego. The little self is the human identity, because Odin was once a human. And the other thing about Odin is it's a title, not a person. It's not like one person, it's a title. So when you go through everything that you have to go through to become Odin, then you get that title, right? So as that's my understanding. Um so I'll tell you a little bit about my experiences with the ETs. Right? So I've been doing these interdimensional meditations, and I've been going deep into meditation, and I've been doing this stuff for quite a while, quite a long time. And I can tell you that the meditations are getting more intense. The meditations are getting more, yeah, that's the word, intense. And it's not necessarily the meditations, it's what happens afterwards. So, you know. So this last meditation that I did where I went home, right? I went home to my home world or whatever. I don't know. It's like smaller than a planet, but then it's like larger than just a asteroid. It's like one of those things that I can't quite describe. Yeah, I just can't quite describe it. It looks to me like so my homeworld looks to me like a crystalline, it's like a crystal planetoid. It's like a planet, but just smaller than a regular. Sorry guys, I keep bumping my mic. So it's just smaller than, like, for example, a regular sized planet would be this. It's like that. It's not quite as big as a normal planet anyway. Um, so then every time I go to that planet, every time I go to that world, it just feels so good. I feel incredibly peaceful, at peace, at bliss, and yeah, just like it's like a warm blanket. It's like even even more than just a warm blanket. It's like being in a warm area, very very homey, very supportive, very loving. I feel this warmth, this love whenever I'm there. It's this incredible feeling of warmth and love, and I don't know what else to call it. Yeah, just warmth and love, and just it's just such a beautiful energy. And then what happens is I go home from there. We'll continue on our meditation, we do whatever we're doing, and then I'll go home from there. And then what ends up happening is whenever I'm done with that meditation, it's like I will just go back to my old normal self, being like, oh, I shouldn't say my normal self. It's just it's actually worse than my normal self. So I go up to this level, right? The 5D, and then I go back to this level, which is the 3D, and it's like I'm being stretched. Like, so I'm living in 3D, but then I'm living in 5D too. And so when my meditation ends, it's like that rubber band just smacks, and it goes like almost like beneath 3D in frequency. So that in layman's terms, not to like spiritualize it, but it just feels, I feel crappy afterwards. I feel really crappy after I do the meditations. And I know some people who are uneducated about the topic will say, oh, well, maybe you're dealing with demons. I'm not. ETs are not demons. How, it's just like, that's what spiritually uneducated people think. Oh gosh, the ETs are actually demons. No, they're not. If you ever experienced one, I can guarantee you will not come away from that experience thinking that they're demons. So, you know, anyway, that's another misconsumption. What did I say? uh, assumption. So, anyway, it's like I, it's like I can't think. or, or can't talk. But anyway, so yeah, you know, so after I get done with those meditations, I ended up, just being in a really crappy mood, really bad mood. And then, I'm like, oh god, I can't share this with you guys. I can't share this with my audience, and that's just my own kind of stuff. Um, my own kind of assumptions that I have to hide these, have to hide these negative feelings and feel all alone and whatever. But I mean, even the ETs, when I'm feeling crappy, they still want to reach out to me. I'm like, hey, we're here. We're here on standby. We're waiting for you. Which is really beautiful. I mean, it's just like, that's the thing. Every time I go into 5D, I feel so supported. I feel so loved. I feel so nourished, so, just at ease, like everything's okay, everything's fine. And then I come back to this planet, and it's just like, ah! It's just like coming back to my human life is like, it's like night and day compared to what I experience over there. And there's the ETs have told me that I've experienced some trauma in my past life, and I try to question them on it, and they're like, you'll figure it out. And I'm like, oh my god. I can't do this. So, yeah, next time I, you know, do a channeling session with my teacher, I'm gonna ask him, or ask him to ask the ETs, uh, if they want to tell me what kind of trauma. I mean, because you can't work on something unless you know what it is. It's like trying to solve a problem that you don't know what the problem is. It's like solving a puzzle with a blindfold on. You just don't know what you're doing. I mean, even if you got the corner pieces, you could kind of decide it, try to put it together. But I mean, at some point, you're just not going to know what you're doing. Um, so that's the struggle that I run into. Because when I go into these meditations into 5D, and then I come back, and it's just like my unconscious crap is there right in my face. And it's just like so frustrating. So the 5D meditations actually bring up a lot of unconscious stuff. And people talk about conscious, unconscious, people think that the word subconscious means unconscious. So a lot of people say, "Oh, your subconscious mind." No, it's not. It's a subconscious mind is a different thing in totality than an unconscious mind. So the unconscious mind, so if something is unconscious, you tell me what you think that means. It doesn't mean that it's between the conscious and the unconscious. It means that unconscious. You're not aware of it. It is meaning not, conscious, meaning that you have something within you, in your psychology, in your past lives, past experiences, that to you as a human with limitations is totally unconscious to you. That is not the same thing as subconscious. Subconscious behavior, or something that is in other words, something that is subconscious lies between the conscious and the unconscious. I'll give you an example. Your social security number, right? Your phone number, your address, your email address, your passcode to work, like if you have a safe passcode or whatever. All those things are subconscious. Now, the subconscious is between the conscious and the unconscious, so it's there when you need it, but it goes away when you don't need it. So, example, if you're filling out a work application and you need to put down your social security number, right? So, when you need that social security number, it comes up, it pops into your consciousness. When you don't need it, it just goes into the unconsciousness. So, that's the difference. So what I'm talking about is these blocks, these psychological blocks in your mind that are totally unconscious. And that's the thing that I run into every time that I do a interdimensional meditation, is that, I can go up to the 5D and feel all this love and all this beauty and bliss and wonderful feelings. And the ETs interact with me in a very loving and supportive way, a very safe way for me. And yet, when I come back, to to you know to Earth, I basically dive into like my my unconsciousness. My unconsciousness is right there in my face. When I come back, it's like boom. And dealing with those things, dealing with, oh god, I gotta deal with this now, because it's it's right in my face. And being a human with past trauma and stuff, it's just like I don't want to deal with that. Who wants to deal with their unconscious trauma stuff? So it's like I don't want to deal with that. And then when you say you don't want to deal with something, it just postpones a worse experience. Like choosing not to deal with a problem that's in your face right now will actually backfire and manifest later. Like it'll amplify. So anything that you neglect to address now psychologically, over time that's just going to amplify even more and more until, eventually someone like, people in my family now have like neuropathy. You're starting to get physical symptoms because they haven't dealt with their previous kind of trauma and emotional conflict and things like that. So yeah, um, so doing this whole spiritual journey, this whole thing about ETs and learning about higher dimensions and stuff is not easy. It's just not easy. Um, Simultaneously, though, it's the most beautiful, blissful experience that I've ever had. So, you go from that bliss and happiness and love feelings, that peaceful, gentle, supportive environment, and then you come back to Earth. So it's just like, what? It's just like it's a mind fuck. Because you're just like, it's just like, I don't even, know if I have words to describe that. It's just like, ugh. And yeah, just brings out like so much pain. It's like everything it's like everything that you've ever wanted in terms of love, affection, attention, things like that, like to be praised, to be loved, liked, all that stuff. It's that. And then when you come back to Earth, you're going to have to deal with all that. You're going to have to deal with your resistance to all that. So it's very difficult. Now, going back to um discussing Ascension symptoms. Now, Ascension symptoms, remember earlier I told you all what they were not, what they weren't, right? So now I'm going to tell you what they are. So Ascension symptoms that is a spiritualization of pain and trauma. And what it really is it is ascension resistance symptoms. So ascension resistance symptoms are actually ascension symptoms. So let's think about this. Why would you get a symptom? Why would you get a symptom from ascension? Well, you my 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 thing my thing on this is you wouldn't get necessarily ascension symptoms, because if you're ascending, that means that your body is becoming healthier, right? So your body's becoming healthier because your spirit, your soul is finding a lot of healing, a lot of bliss, a lot of happiness, so that naturally will heal the body, right? So what are ascension symptoms? They are the resistance to the healing. So ascension symptoms are the resistance to the healing of trauma, to the healing of karmic wounds and things like that. Emotional damage, emotional trauma, things like that. So when you talked about ascension symptoms, it's actually not, it's actually your resistance to the healing that is occurring. Because in those interdimensional guided meditations, it's actually healing us on a deep level that our human minds can't necessarily comprehend. And so when you have that, when you're experiencing this deep healing, you're already experiencing, like, so when you're experiencing that deep healing on such a deep level, you're going to experience some resistance to that healing, because naturally in our third dimensional world, when we heal, it's like when we're healing, or like, sorry, I lost track. But so in our third dimensional world, the only reason that we need healing is if something is wrong inside of us. It's not about, oh, I have this, this disability or this thing that's wrong with me, or this autoimmune thing that's going on with me, right? It's those things are a manifestation of the internal. So what's going on with you externally is a manifestation of what's going on with you internally. So, for example, my mom is having some health issues and stuff. And she's like, oh yeah, that's just part of getting older. Well, no. No, it's not. Getting older is the result of unhealed trauma. stuff like that. Like emotional, what is it called? What's it called? Emotional. Ah, it's like being at odds with yourself. So, for example, emotional conflict. So, when you have two emotions, like you want to be loved, and so on one hand, you want to be loved by your family and the people around you, and on the other hand, you want to go have fun, go live your life, go, be on your own and do your own thing. Well, those two emotions will collide. They will crash into each other. And when you want to please people, but you also want to do what you want, you gotta either choose one. You gotta choose one or the other. Which one is it? And so the result of this emotional conflict, any kind of emotional conflict, where it could be anything, literally. You know, you want to go out there and you want to become as wealthy as you can, and you want to, buy your own island and do things that wealthy people do, right? But your father always talks crap about rich people, right? Says, oh, those, billionaires, the millionaires, they're bad people and this and that. That will automatically build up a emotional conflict within you. Because, in your young adult life, you're like, oh yeah, I want to go out and be as successful as I possibly can stand, right? But then you have this message from your father that says, don't you dare become successful, because that's going to piss me off. Rich people are bad, right? So it's like when you get those mixed messages of what you want to do and what other people are telling you to do, it's just like not going to work out. It's creates an emotional conflict. So the same thing with 5D, right? You have 5D, and you have your 5D experiences, which are expanding you, which are filling you up with love and healing and all these positive things. You have a bunch of friendly, positive, supportive ETs around you. And then you have these unconscious traumas and things. So, your unconscious mind is saying you can't trust people. Your unconscious mind is saying that, you know, it has all these things about who you are and what you're supposed to do and this and that. But what it really is it's actually just a resistance to leveling yourself up to Ascension. So whenever you have that, it's just whenever you're feeling in any kind of emotional conflict, it's just that. It's just like, okay, what do I want to do? Take the left hand path or the right hand path? What do I want to do? and one and one path will stunt your growth, and the other one will expand your growth. So it's like emotional conflict is such a big thing that we don't even realize, and it's largely just unconscious, very unconscious. So, you know, yeah, you know, it's really good to like, like even though I feel I've described my own experiences of feeling like run over by a train every time that I come back from my interdimensional meditations. When I'm up there, I feel great. I feel wonderful. Then when I come back here, I feel like crap. Uh, and so this is the emotional conflict. I want to be up there. I want to, I want to be loved up there. I want to have all those great experiences, but then something about my human existence says maybe I'm not worthy of those things. Maybe I have some self judgment, some self like limitations on myself. Maybe it's expanding me beyond my human identity, and so I'm naturally resistant to that because I don't want to die. I want to keep this human identity as one does, It's like all of those are very natural, very normal kind of things. Um, but just like, yeah, it's just taking a while to get used to because we're dealing with something that no human has ever done before. We're in a very unique and very challenging time. So yeah, guys, I just want to bring that to light, and as I said, Ascension symptoms are not what you think they are. They are, you know, it's just like you, you're not like if you experience any kind of pain, any kind of suffering, and you think, oh, that means I'm ascending, that's not true. Not to say it's not true, not to say it can't be true, but it's just the equation of suffering with ascension, suffering with enlightenment is just, I think it's false. Um, no, I described my own suffering, and I know that that is resistance. So my own suffering, my human suffering, is resistance to what's actually expanding and healing and growing me in those higher dimensions. So it's actually resistance to ascension. So the ascension symptoms that people normally talk about are actually, um, you could be in pain for a number of reasons. It might not always be spiritual or deal with ascension. So, for example, you could be in pain due to, you know, your own kind of emotional conflict. You could be in pain for a myriad of reasons: emotional, psychological, spiritual, physical, all that stuff. But then you could also, so your your what you would describe as ascension symptoms could mean that you are devolving, that you're going on a path, downward path. Um, like I explained earlier, the drug addicts. Or you could be in pain and you could be on an upward path. Or you could be not in pain and you could be on an upward path. Or you could be in pain and you could be on a downward path. So it just it's not to say that it's not to say that ascension symptoms mean anything really. So that's what I wanted to say. So it's just that's and so yeah, guys. So I just really wanted to talk about this stuff. It helps me to talk about it. Helps me to just get it out there. Talk about this stuff and I've been, just having a very rough time of things. Just a very rough time of things. But that's okay. And this is the the beauty of being older now. Right? I'm like 38 years old. And The beauty as you grow older, the beauty is you when you go through a hard time, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going through a hard time. But the great news is, I've had plenty of hard times before. I've had plenty of them. And the beauty about that is, through the hard times, you just know that they're a period of time. You just know that they're going to dissipate. And it's like peaks and valleys. You know you're gonna have good times. You know you're gonna have hard times, and that's okay. It's just part of life. And I think the ascension symptoms or not, whether you're experiencing any kind of pain or not, the one thing that you can do to help your pain, to help even if you're not in pain, is just to love yourself completely and fully. That's it. The world doesn't want us to love ourselves. So just, love yourself completely and fully as much as you can. Because I guarantee you that you are, yeah, you're someone special. That's just it. So you are someone special. And also, you have a very special purpose, a very special task ahead of you in this new 5D world that we're headed to. So I know I'm going to be a priest. I'm going to be healing people, empowering them, helping them. And I know that you're going to have your own special assignment, your own special role to fulfill. And I also know that the world is changing, things are shifting, even though it doesn't feel like it. But people are starting to wake up. They really are. And it's come to my attention that, man, I thought I could put my faith and belief in certain politicians. And this latest news about the whole Epstein thing made me realize that I can't trust anyone. So don't put your faith in politicians, don't put your faith in political parties, don't put your faith in men or women, I'm talking about men as a race. I'm talking about putting your faith in yourself. First and foremost, put your faith in yourself, and also put your faith in RET friends. The more that you trust them, the more that you open up yourself to them, you open up your heart to them. The most healing thing that I've ever done was talking to the ETs, sharing with them how I'm feeling, sharing with them my traumas and my negative emotions and stuff. And they just greet me with, total acceptance and love and acceptance. And I mean, that's probably the most healing thing that I could do. That's the most healing thing that they could ever do for me. It's just when I pour out all my feelings for them, they just give me a hug and greet me with love and acceptance. So that's another key lesson to learn, guys, is that a lot of people are in so much pain, so much emotional pain. And I remember my spiritual counselor, my spiritual teacher, he would say this over and over and over again. That's one of the things that stuck in my brain. His students would come up to him and say, "How do I overcome my feelings? How do I get rid of my feelings? How do I stop feeling this way?" As if, oh, if I could just get over this feeling, if I could just stop these feelings, everything would be okay. He says, "When have I ever told you to get rid of your feelings? To get over your feelings, to stop feeling a certain way?" He says, "When have I ever told you that?" And truth is, he's never told us that. He's always said, what did he say? He said, "The point is not to overcome your feelings. The point is to work through them. Point is, you don't overcome your feelings. You basically take the opposite action that your feelings are telling you. So if you feel sad and you want to just eat a bucket of Cheetos, right? You just want to sit on the couch all day watching soap operas and eating Cheetos all day just to help with your sadness. What you do is you get up on off the couch, you put on some clothes, you take a shower, you brush your teeth, you do all your hygiene stuff, you put on deodorant, and you put on your running shoes. You step outside that door, and you say, "You know what? I'm feeling really crappy right now. When all I want to do is this, but I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to go take a 20-minute walk around the neighborhood. Just going to do 20-minute walk, and then I can come back to my place, sit on the couch and eat Cheetos all day." That's it. That's probably the most powerful lesson I've ever learned in my life. Because your feelings are just feelings. They don't necessarily mean anything. They don't necessarily can't really do anything. They can't force you to do anything. It's just a feeling. It's just a response of your soul, your body, your consciousness. It's a response, just like a fart or a burp. Just, how do I get it? How do I stop this burp? I don't want to burp. How do I stop this? How do I overcome a burp? Well, you just let it out. That's it. There's nothing else to do. Just let it out and that be it. So guys, when feelings come up, just let them out. Just let them out. There's nothing left. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do about the feelings. There's nothing to be. It's just something that happens. You know? You could either you could either hold in a fart forever, right? Just like you hold in emotions. Or you could just let it out. Which is healthier? Which is healthier if I said, oh, in order to be a complete, healthy, well-rounded adult, completely healthy emotionally and psychologically, you gotta hold in your farts. If I told you that, you'd think I was crazy. So same thing with emotions, same thing with feelings. Just let them out. And that, my friends, is why I gotta come on here and talk to you. Because I gotta let this shit out of me. I gotta talk. I gotta talk things out. I gotta emanate stuff. So yeah, that's the point of my YouTube channel. And I hope it's helpful for you. Alrighty? So, yeah, I hope it helped. And let's see here, what else do we got? Yeah, so yeah, ego death. When Odin said, that I sacrificed myself to myself. So, talking about his little self with a little s being sacrificed to his big self, big S, meaning sacrificing the human identity to the eternal soul. So, let me just end on that question. Are you willing to sacrifice your human identity to your eternal soul? That is what the 5D shift is about. So, and that's a hard bargain. That's a hard thing. It's not going to be a walk in the park. Sacrificing your human identity to your soul, to your eternal soul. I mean it's not easy because it feels like you're dying, and that's exactly what Odin went through. he said screaming I took up the runes. So, we talk about this shamanic death and rebirth. It's more than just a concept of, oh wow, that sounds so crazy. You read it in a book and you're like, oh wow. No, when you experience it, it's going to, it's gonna feel like you're dying. It's going to feel like a death. But it's actually the most healing thing that you could ever do for yourself. So, um, so yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm going through right now. As I've said, I see people popping in and out of the chat or the viewerships, so I'm kind of restating things over and over again. But yeah, I mean, I would come out of 5D meditations, going to see aliens and stuff. I would come out of those meditations and I would feel just awful. I'd feel like I'm dying. I'd feel like going crazy, and I'd be like doubting myself and stuff. But the truth is, the ETs, they have nothing but love and respect for us. So it wasn't, my resistance to them wasn't caused by them, it was caused by me. It was me who was having the trouble adapting to that way of being, where there's just eternal love and bliss and joy and happiness. And finally got everything that I was asking for. I got to connect with my higher self, my higher dimensional self, and got all the praise, the recognition, the love, the healing. Interacting with ETs is incredibly healing for me. And yet when I came back to Earth, it's just like, ugh. Dealing with all kinds of resistance to that. So when people talk about Ascension symptoms, it's actually resistance. I've gone over that earlier in the broadcast. So, yeah. Yeah, guys, even though I'm having a hard time right now, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give in, even though it's tempting. But I mean, honestly, I've experienced the most bliss, the most love. Just going up there in meditation, interacting with my galactic family. And by the way, people on Earth, us humans call them aliens, right? We say, "Oh, the aliens." Well, no, they're not. They're not alien. Like nothing about them is alien to us. These beings have known us for a very long time. These beings who are our guides have known us since before we came to Earth. They took up this job to be our guides because they love us so much. They have such a close connection to us, with us. So it's not that they're trying to manipulate us in any way. It's just they love us and they want to connect with us, and that's the thing. It's just like they want to connect, but then we're so scared to do that because it's just like, yeah, just crazy stuff. So let's see what we got. Got a comment. Hey, We have Jay here. So it's nice to see you live. Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, I've been trying to go live more, trying to go, trying to do these things more. So, yeah, let me know if you have a question. I'll be live for a few more minutes, so pop a question in, anything that you want to ask, and I'll be happy to answer. Um, so yeah, um, let's see here. Oh, we typed again. Let's see. Wish you the best and continued success. Thank you, sir. Yeah, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's been, it's always such a pleasure to come on here. I was saying earlier that I have to vent, I have to let stuff out, so so I do that with you guys. It's always such a wonderful pleasure to have my YouTube audience and stuff, so totally grateful for you guys for putting up with me all these years. uh let's see here. Uh what am I looking forward to this Leo season? Is it Leo season? I'm not sure. I haven't really checked astrology much, but yeah. I would say during the summer I've gone through I've had a lot of vacations. I had a lot of vacations this year. Went to Pine Top, Arizona and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to is more of that, more vacations, more fun, excitement, play. I basically stay around the house most of the time, just stay in most of the time. So it's like it's just yeah, I'm a big homebody. So it's nice to get out of the house. It's nice to just kind of go do things, go have fun. I think that's one thing that I'm trying to do more is just go out more, have more fun, stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely been kind of yeah, it's been mundane pretty much. So looking forward to going out more. And let's see what else. Plans for the future. I've been looking at RVs, like travel trailer RVs and stuff. So I'm looking to move to Florida pretty soon, and I got a game plan for that. I got plans for that. So I've been I've been researching stuff, been looking into travel trailers, and I'm visually impaired, so I'm like, okay, well, at first I was like, trailers, they seem pretty cheap and pretty reasonably priced, but my issue was moving them from one location to the other, so I was like, okay, how am I gonna do that? But I worked it out. It's I can actually call the tow truck. So, yeah, every 2 or 3 months I'm gonna be moving around in Florida from one RV RV site to the next. So, it's I'm planning on doing that sometime next year or so. So, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I love I do self adventurous. I'm in yeah. Yeah, it's definitely nice to to get out the house and do stuff. It's like, sometimes I can just be too too much in my home, too much just like uh it gets like mundane and repetitive. I do I just bought a gym, in fact, like last month. Like a I don't know what you would call it, like a power rack with a barbell and weights. So been doing that stuff, and then been doing also some. I bought a sauna as well, so I uh I got a sauna. I've been um yeah doing that stuff. Been trying to get healthier, trying to yeah, just improve myself overall. It's been wonderful. And then we have this guy. So I'm going to be kind and say that my beliefs do not align with any kind of Christianity, but I appreciate you coming on and leaving a comment. Thank you. All right, so I'll leave it at that there. But yeah, let's just say I'm not a Christian of any kind, and I don't want to get into that discussion. There is no convincing me. I'll say that, but I do appreciate the kind words. All right, so yeah, that's it for me, guys. I appreciate you. Um, let's see. Yeah, that's it. You can go back and watch the beginning of this and all that good stuff. So that video will be on my channel on video on demand and stuff. So yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. I think I'm done for the day. My throat is kind of hurting, so I'll be off. All right. Love you guys and take care. See you next time. Let me put on my outro.